Thank you so much for your time. There is a statement from Harrods. Let me read it out to you because they say we are utterly appalled by the allegations of abuse perpetrated by Mohammed Al-Fayed. These were the actions of an individual who was intent on abusing his power wherever he operated, and we condemn them in the strongest terms. We also acknowledge that during this time as a business, we failed our employees who were his victims. And for this, we are sincerely apologetic. The Harrods of today is a very different organisation to the one owned and controlled by Al-Fayed between 1985 and 2010. It is one that seeks to put the welfare of our employees at the heart of everything we do. This is why, since new information came to light in 2023 about historic allegations of sexual abuse by Al-Fayed, it has been our priority to settle claims in the quickest way possible, avoiding lengthy legal proceedings for the women involved. This process is still available for any current or former Harrods employees. That's a statement from Harrods released today.
You're watching BBC News with me, Geeta Guru-Murthy, and we are going to be bringing you coverage of Nigel Farage's speech at the Reform Party conference. This is the scene in Birmingham at the moment where his supporters are gathered, and they have been hearing from some of the MPs that you can see there, Lee Anderson there, and also from Zia Yusuf, who is the Reform UK chairman, who has just finished his speech. I think many of the supporters gathered in Birmingham, and Nigel Farage due to take to the podium. We've heard from Richard Tice and from Anne Widdecombe and others. David Bull is going to be introducing Nigel Farage, we believe. And of course, this is the first time that Mr Farage has actually won a seat in the House of Commons after the summer election. Nigel Farage takes a bow there from his audience at the Reform UK party conference as the banners come down, ending his speech, which lasted about half an hour. And he focused very much on not only how they won their first seats in Parliament at this year's election and what persuaded him to actually go for a seat, having initially been sceptical about that, but very much laying out how he wanted to change the party structure and how he wanted to win more seats in the local elections next year and win wider support on the ground. And he said that they wanted to be credible. He said that they don't want any bigots in the party because they represent the silent, decent majority. He also talked about two-tier policing. Of course, we had the summer riots, which were very controversial. Let me bring in Harry Farley, our political correspondent, who is at the Reform conference. And Harry, what do you think the main points were of this speech? What stood out for you? Yes, and we noticed the attack on the Labour leader and the Labour leadership as they target Labour voters now. Harry Farley, for now, in Birmingham, thank you so much for being with us. Well, just to bring you some breaking news on the Labour Party, and amid the political criticism of some members of the Labour leadership for accepting donations, Downing Street has confirmed that Sir Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves will not accept any donations for clothing in future. This does follow criticism for Sir Keir Starmer for accepting such donations from the Labour peer Lord Ali. Those supporting Sir Keir Starmer have said it has been a distraction, but everything has been, this is always about transparency and everything being declared and within the rules, of course, but Downing Street apparently acknowledging there has been some political damage as Labour now say they won't be accepting any more donations for clothing in future. Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves. It doesn't mention donations for other matters. So we'll get more on that, hopefully, from our correspondents in Millbank shortly. Let us move on. And the Israeli military says it has carried out a targeted strike in the Lebanese capital. Witnesses heard a blast in Beirut's Hezbollah-controlled southern suburbs, and smoke was seen rising over the area. Well, these are the live pictures of the skyline over Beirut. Lebanon's health ministry says 8 people have been killed and 50 injured in the attack. Well, the strike followed more exchanges of fire across the Israel-Lebanon border. The Israelis say about 60 rockets have been fired into Israel. Hezbollah said it was aimed at 3 army sites. Well, the Israelis have warned northern residents to stay near bomb shelters. And in the last few minutes, Israel has confirmed that it did kill a senior Hezbollah commander. Our correspondent in Jerusalem, Daniel de Simone, has more on what was said. Just let me remind you of events in the Middle East, with, of course, further attacks across the Israel-Lebanon border. And crucially, the latest Israeli attack. Let me just show you some live pictures from Beirut. And you can see the emergency vehicle still out on the street, with crowds there still out. And the latest attack has targeted a senior Hezbollah commander, Ibrahim Akil, in Beirut. And a sign, according to our correspondents, of the very precise intelligence that Israel has about Hezbollah. You might remember back in July, an airstrike also in Dahir, which was Hezbollah's stronghold in southern Beirut, killed Fouad Shukr, who was a right-hand man to the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and responsible for its military operations. And today's attack is seen as another humiliation for Hezbollah in a week where hundreds of pagers and walkie-talkies used by the group have exploded, and it's brought chaos and panic right across Lebanon. It's been a huge security breach, showing Israel has penetrated Hezbollah's communication system. Of course, we are seeing voices still calling for calm. Joe Biden has said reaching a Gaza ceasefire deal is still realistic. He said, speaking at the White House today, telling reporters we have to keep at it. We will bring you much more in the coming minutes. Let's get the weather now with Chris Fawkes.
Hello. We've had a real mixture of weather across the UK Friday. Some low cloud and mist across the northeast of the UK.